everybody, Sai again from Happy Accident Studios, and today we are going to make a herringbone style paper quilted card. This is a stash busting exercise. It is meant to allow you to use up your scraps that are lying around and still be able to make something useful with them so you don't feel guilty because you haven't just thrown them away. So what you're going to need for this technique is a card blank. It doesn't have to be a square one, but I use a square one. It can even be a shaped card because we are going to trim it at the end. So if you've got a scalloped card that you like or whatever, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You can use whatever you like and whatever you need to finish up to clean up your stash, because that's what this is about. We are stash busting today. Right, so here is our card blank, and then for the herringbone design you are going to need scraps, and you're going to need strips of scraps. This is just some free papers from a magazine that I got, and they are double-sided, which is very useful, especially for this design, because you might run out of one color. You can just flip the other colors around. So what I've got is I've divided mine up into 4 different colors. You do not have to use 4 different colors. It's just me. Sorry about my light. It's terribly it's washing everything out, but I'm trying to kill some shadows that are coming in from over the light. I'll get it in time. I will get this whole thing sorted out. But these are the colors and patterns I'm using today. Some examples that I've already done. This one is from a similar set. It was also in the free patterns that I got in the magazine. It's the same paper set. I've just divided it in half, and I was able to get 2 cards out of this one. Where's the other one gone? Yeah, I don't have that one, but here is sort of a log cabin design that I made from some old basic gray papers. Any papers will do, and if you like the effect of a certain paper, like for example some of the older basic gray designs have this shading on it, adds lots of extra depth, and it kind of makes it look like wood inlay, which I think is quite interesting. I have stumbled upon a good masculine design. So you don't have to just go for herringbone. That's just what we're doing today. Here's an example of something else. The reason that this turned out the way it was because I didn't have a lot of longer pieces. So I put this long piece down the middle here, and I used my shorter pieces to go around. So really, you know, you can make up your own designs willy-nilly, depending on what scraps you've got. The most important thing is that we bust that stash. So let's get busted. Now, I don't know, for those of you who don't know, the herringbone pattern kind of goes like this. It's sort of one color, one pattern sort of butted up against another one in sort of a V shape like this. Like that. And then you just kind of follow it on down. Now, I'm going to choose for this particular card to put the spine, if you will, of the herringbone design going this way. Just putting it here rather than in the middle like in a previous card, because I want to put a design here, and I don't want to get in the way of the most intricate part of the design because I like it. So that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to take you through this step by step. So it's a good idea to know your pattern ahead of time. This is mine. It's going blue, and then this pattern, then pink, and then this pattern. Right, so the other things you need for this are a stick of double-sided tape, a roll of double-sided sticky tape. I prefer the ones that tear into pieces, for example, like that. I just prefer that. I don't like to use my scissors that much, but you will need some scissors or a craft knife to trim the edges around when you are finished. So what I do is I like to stick a couple of pieces of tape down first. This will also determine the angle of your herringbone, so make sure that it's more or less the way you want it. I don't know what happened with that first piece there at all. Either way, the key to peeling up this tape with the minimum of fuss is to make sure it is really, really stuck down. Then you should be able to get just the backing paper up and peel it off. Right, so what I'm doing here is I am peeling off two pieces that are running parallel, but they're wider in total than the rest of the paper I'm going to stick onto it. And here's why. Here's our first piece, and I'm going to put this down just so that the very, very point of the paper touches the bottom edge. This is kind of a paper saving tactic, which you might think is a bit different from stash busting, but we are being economical so that we can get our leftovers to stretch quite far, but at the same time get rid of those scraps. Right, so I've stuck this down, and as you can see, hopefully, there's still about half the width of each of these tapes sticking out from the sides. That's definitely what we need. We need that to happen so that we can get the joins stuck down properly so that it looks really neat at the end. You can, if you really despise double-sided sticky tape, like I kind of don't like it that much, but it works the best for this, and so I'll use it and I'll put up with it. But if you really can't stand the stuff, or if you've got arthritis in your joints and you just can't stand all the picking, then I recommend you could use a very strong glue stick. I'm not a big fan of the result you get from glue sticks. Sometimes it's not flexible enough, etc. I would use something like this Collall Dual Cap, and what it's got on the bottom, it's got like these little comb teeth. I don't know if you can see the teeth. There you go. Can you see the teeth? And it basically, as you squeeze it and drag it along the paper, it creates kind of a very thin network of lines of glue, and it shouldn't warp the paper. Fingers crossed anyway. But you can use any adhesive you like. This is just me being picky. Okay, so the first one's down. And now I'm just going to pop a little bit of extra tape along this bottom join, and I'm going to slide it underneath the join like that, because I will be joining some paper up to this side as well later, and I don't want to have any gaps. So, well, you haven't burnished it down properly and it's peeled up. Here we go. That's how I like it. And now it's stuck down three sides of it. Perfect. So, my next one that I'm going to do is going to be pointing. Oh, hold on. Which way are we going to do this? Yeah. The next one's going to be pointing this way. Now I'm going to stick it like that just for now. Now it's not going to be stuck down fully. You see, it's kind of flapping. That's good. Leave it like that. It's very helpful for you later on when you use your tape. So we're going to come back in with our double stick tape again. It's very important that you get that tape right up to the edge. So you can measure it out by eye like this and then tear it. Alright, and then you just pull it up and you stick it. Right. It's nice to have a look at it and see where it's going to end up before you pull it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sticking that down. And then I'm going to peel it up. And because it's not already stuck down, it will just slide from underneath your paper like that. Just hold it down so it doesn't ripple or anything. There you go. I should have done the parallel line at the same time and I didn't. My mistake. But it's no big deal. There are no mistakes, only happy accidents, as I say. So, sticking that down. Again, do not worry about it going over the side like this. If anything, it's going to hold your work into place on the table. You can trim it all up later, and it'll be fine. Right, so let's get this up. There we go. You see? Don't worry too much and it will just work. Okay, so we've got our first two down. Okay, what do I want to do? Just thinking about the order that I want to go in. I think I'm going to swap these around like that. And here's why. It's because I used the very next design in this one that I did in this one. So it was all going to match up at some angles and I didn't like that. So I don't want it to do that. So this is the new order I'm doing it in. Blue, then this one, pink, then that one. Whew. These things happen along the way in the creative process. Right, so this is where it's going to go. Right here. So you just have to make sure that, here, I'm pulling this up now. You got to make sure that these two edges here and these two edges here are just flush right up against each other. Flush right up against each other like that. And then we put down our second piece of tape like this. Kind of folded it and it sort of bunched up there by accident, but once I've stuck it down it's going to correct itself. So if you are one of those perfectionists, don't worry. Don't shed a tear for this lovely card. It'll be fine. Right, there we go. And then that leaves the next perpendicular line here. Or, well, parallel to one and perpendicular to the other, if you want to get technical. Right, like that. And we peel this off. And then we continue in this way until we run out of spaces. So, it's going to be really boring if you sit and watch this at this speed. So now I am going to continue on with my pattern, laying it down, and I am going to speed this up so that it doesn't take that long, but you still get what I'm doing. Okay, speed it up then. Okay, slow it back down. Okay, now run completely around so that the top edge is completely covered with scraps. So now let's gently, very gently, pry this up from the work surface and flip it over because we have some trimming to do. Right. So be very careful because you are going to get sticky scissors. And whenever that happens, just make sure you peel it off so you can continue on your way as smoothly as possible. Alright, and we're just going to use the edge of the card as a guide to trim all of these scraps off. Do not throw these away just yet, because you might need them later. There's nothing like getting halfway through a card like this and not being able to finish it because you've run out of paper in your chosen color scheme. So do keep hold of these scraps. It is tricky sometimes with the tape, but it was worth it to get the good joins. in. Okay. Still trimming. Now, if you want to get these edges really nice and smooth, you can sort of finish it off with a sanding block, and I will show you that later when the entire card is finished. Right, so here are my sticky scraps, but still scraps right there. So watch me because I might need to use them. And I'm going to now start on the bottom, and the most important thing here is to make sure that the pattern continues, and this bottom half it's going to be a lot easier because for a start you won't have to continue the herringbone because we've done it so far to this side that this is just going to look like stripes, and so that's all you're going to have to do. Now we'll finish all these stripes later, but when you get to this last corner here, chances are that's quite narrow. You're not going to need a lot of extra paper to finish that. You're only going to need one strip. So what I recommend you do is put your tape along the very edge of the card. Now, because this is tearable tape, I can just tear it like this along the edge of the card, with the backing tape still on. Don't try that without the backing tape on. I did, and I got all stuck, so not cool. Right, so make sure that's properly burnished down so that we can peel our backing layer off, and do the same thing for this side. Because it's going to be a smaller piece of paper, it might be easier for that paper to sort of come away, and that's why I like to stick it really well on all sides. Just tear this bit off. No, it's not tearing this time. I'll have to cut it. If you don't want to ruin your good scissors, totally understandable. Just get a little cheap pair for cutting glue with. It's really not that good, but you can clean it off with a bit of oil. Oil breaks up adhesive quite well. Okay, so that's our little triangle piece there, and according to the pattern it is this one. So I'm just gonna stick that right up to the edge here, press it down quite well to make sure it sticks. And then I'm going to cut that. If it survives being cut, it should survive the sanding at the end as well. If you choose to do it, it is optional. Right. So this is just going to be a striped section, and remember, according to the pattern now, we are working backwards. So if you've laid your pattern out left to right, you are now going to have to move right to left when you pull your papers for this next part. Sometimes I kind of get carried away and I totally forget what I was doing. It happened actually in my first attempt at filming this, and I will show you what happened, just so that you'll be happier if you make a mistake. Where's my mistake gone? Here it is. I just went a little weird on the whole herringbone thing, and it didn't sort of come out the way I'd planned it. I don't know why it sort of shifted over one. Quilters would probably see exactly where my mistake was made. Anyway, I continued on with it anyway, albeit slightly half-heartedly, and I think it came out all right. So I will be using this as a card because, again, this is just the background. If you really love what you've done, you can just put a small message or cluster of embellishments just here if you really want this background to come up. But I might just put something on here like a die cut with some picture stamped on it. So it's still all right. So don't worry if you're not sticking to your pattern exactly. It's not the end of the world. It never is. It's craft. I appear to have a little blank piece here, so I might go back later and fix that, or I might not. Right, so this is our finished card. You can see that. It has its herringbone design with the spine just over here, and then it's got plenty of room for design over there. So that's what's been done. Now let's see if I can find my sanding block, because I'm so organized that I actually put everything I would need out on the table beforehand. Do you know what? I haven't got it, but like I say, anything you have to hand. I happen to have a nail file right here. So what I'm going to do is just take the edges and just file down the edges. You go down, but to the side as well. And it does make a much smoother edge. I don't recommend using an edge distressor with this technique. I know some of you have those little round tools with the blades in it, but that's because you're gonna have to move it this way, and it's just, you know, these bits are gonna get caught. It's gonna pull up, and it may ruin your card. So I mean, if you want to try it, please obviously feel free. But I just have a feeling it's not gonna work. Where have I gone now? You can tell where I've been. I've been here, and I've been here. So let's do a bit over here. It's not much of a difference in looks, at least not on these three sides. Not much of a difference in looks at all. But over here, it's a little bit iffy, a little bit fishy. And never do it the wrong way, this way, because it'll curl it up towards the front and you might expose more of your glue or tape or whatever it is. Ooh, that sounded weird. Also, be careful if it's the spine of your card as well, because it might accidentally, you might file too much and it might become two pieces. So do be careful. But it does feel a lot better. And also, once you've done this sort of filing, if you wanted to ink the edges with a chalk ink to make it look a little distressed, it will be more, I guess, more ready to accept ink. So that is a paper quilted card in the herringbone style. If you wanted to do any other styles and you didn't have any that came to mind straight away, it's, you know, just grab a quilting pattern or check Pinterest or any blogs that you like about quilting and see what they've got there for you, and just cut your pieces out and do it. That's all I can say. It's just, you know, make sure your adhesive goes all the way to the edge, and make sure that the edges of your pieces touch each other or overlap each other, because they can do that, and that will help. It'll still look like a clean join. So yeah, moving forward from this, There's lots and lots of possibilities. So enjoy your stash busting. And I have been Sly. This has been Happy Accident Studios. And remember, it's never a mistake. It's a happy accident. You can see me live sometimes streaming on Twitch. I am twitch.tv/HapAxStudios. And you can also catch me on Twitter, Pinterest, Vine, or Instagram at HapAx Studios as well. And Facebook, obviously, at Happy Accident Studios. Look for the pink handprint. If you're in the Medway area of Kent and you would like to have a bespoke papercraft class done for you and your friends, get in touch. Let's talk about it. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.